This is the Panic Then Process podcast, where we find ourselves somewhere between clinical and chaotic, sharing lessons that we didn't learn in our academic textbooks.
We're two MACP Yorkville graduates giving their take on the program, practicum, and all things therapy.
I'm Izzy.
And I'm Karen, and this is Panic Then Process.
Podcast episode number 2.
Woohoo!
Yay!
Yay! Here we
Um,
go.
we are recording them back to back. So if you're watching on YouTube, you are seeing us in the exact same outfit that we were in episode number 1. So please don't be judgmental. We do have other clothes and
It's our
hope for
podcast uniform.
right. Hope for episode number 3 we're in different outfits, perhaps. I don't know. Um, Yay, we're so excited to step into, I don't know. I feel like this is past or like post pilot, when shows come out with a new show
Yeah,
and they like do like a pilot episode.
I love
That was our
that.
first one and this is like the real deal. Now we're
Yeah.
in it.
Yeah, now we're old
Not
hat. We know what we're doing.
right. And not that we have any feedback whatsoever because we just recorded the first one and therefore like we really don't even know if this has made it to anybody, but we're excited to be here and that's all that matters.
But we're here. That's right. But we're here and we're ready. So here we
And
go.
so today we are really wanting to talk about, you have your acceptance letter from Yorkville University for the Master's in Counseling Psychology program and now what?
Oh my gosh, what a big now what, right? What a big question. Oh my goodness. Talk about panic then process, right? But first of all, can we say to all of you out there who are in that phase of your life at this moment, who has just received your acceptance letter, you're getting ready to start, congratulations!
Congratulations!
High fives all
Yes!
around. You guys did it. You're in like Flynn. Well done. That's really hard. Well done. Yeah,
Yes. Yes.
it's a big
And I
deal.
think it really is a big deal. And I think there's a lack of like, I don't know, celebration in some of it because it's online. So it
Yeah.
feels like not a lot is really going to be changing, but like a lot will be changing in some of the best ways. So
Yeah.
like, wow, take a moment to like sit in that and be like,
You
I did
got
it.
it.
Like I made such a big step and like I'm believing in myself. I'm doing it scared. I'm doing it without totally knowing what it's going to look like and I'm here for that. I'm here for
Hmm.
you and I'm here for that.
Yeah. And you're doing it anyways, right? You're scared, you're terrified, you're so excited, you're all the things, having all the feels from 1 minute to the next, and you're doing it anyway. So well done. Because there's a lot of courage that
Oh,
comes from that, right? That really has to be like dig down deep and draw from that sometimes, right?
hmm.
So exciting and so terrifying. And so you have no idea what's coming at you yet, but it'll be all good because you've got us too. So it's all
Yes.
right.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Karen, tell me, do you remember receiving your acceptance?
I totally do. I totally
Okay,
do.
tell
It was
me. Paint me
like,
the picture.
it was so exciting. I was sitting, well, I didn't open it right away. I opened it actually on my parents' deck with
How did you
them
receive it?
and two of my kiddos. I thought by
Mail or
mail.
email?
No, I don't
Yeah.
remember. I thought it was
Okay.
mail.
It
Pretty
might have
sure I
been.
remember opening it.
Okay, you got it
Now I
mailed.
don't
Got it.
know. Now,
As
well,
details, doesn't
I
matter. You're
remember
sitting on the deck.
opening one big piece of mail on my parents'
Mm,
deck. I thought it was that,
mm,
but maybe it wasn't. But we're gonna go
mm,
with that because that's what I remember it as, and I remember
mm,
being so excited about it, and like terrified
mm,
and so excited, and just like, yeah, you know when you get that like full body feeling where your
mm,
whole body is vibrating with excitement, and you're just like, yes, 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 here we go. That
mhm,
was definitely what I felt. And that is something that I've really come to learn in my life as I've gotten older and done many things and still not enough, all that stuff around, you feel old, but maybe you're not really, is to
mm,
trust that, right?
mm,
Is that felt sense, that experience is something that does not lie to you. And so I
mhm.
remember having that feeling of full body excitement. It's like warm, it's all over, it's tingly, it's like, woohoo, so exciting. So I remember having that and thinking, oh my God, like this is going to be amazing and terrifying. Yeah.
I love
What
that
about
you
you?
remember. I don't remember.
Oh no?
Okay, but listen, so I applied twice. So I did an application in 2019. I was accepted, and then I ended up not deferring. I ended up declining my acceptance just because of some personal stuff that was going on in my life.
Yeah.
And so I did it twice. And so I think that the second time that I was actually going, I kind of felt like I was gonna get another acceptance because I
Okay.
had jumped through the hoops. So I feel like I
Yes.
had already what I do remember is all of the because what was her name? Elle, I think her name was. She was the program advisor at the time for me, or maybe based on my last name, I don't remember.
Mm-hmm.
But you reach out to them for support in terms of your like your statement, your student statement. Did
Yep.
you do that?
I don't remember. Maybe.
Okay.
I
Isn't
have
that
no
so
idea.
funny? I remember this very specifically, and you're like, I have no idea.
Not a
So
clue.
yeah, because I reached out to her and she supported me through my entire, because I was, I mean, as many of us are, was pretty post like my undergrad. Like I was 4 years post my undergrad. So like I like transcript wise, I'm like, I don't know how to do that. And so I was connected with, I think her name was Elle or Ella. Now I feel like I'm doing a disservice to her by saying her name wrong. And she was wonderful. Like she supported me through that the whole time. And so if you're thinking about applying and you're not sure where to start, get
Yeah.
connected with Yorkville because there are people who are going to support. She read my letter that I wrote. She gave me feedback on it.
Wow.
Um yeah, like it was quite, and so I think that that also is like right from the get-go, Yorkville does have, and again, you know, you take the good with the bad, but they had resources there for you to help you out in the process of getting connected. And so if
Absolutely.
that's the hurdle you're afraid to jump, reach out because they will absolutely, it really kind of felt like holding my hand. And at the time I needed it because I also
Mhm.
needed that courage push that you were kind of talking
Yeah.
about.
Definitely, right? It is a big thing and there's so much unknown about it. And absolutely, that's one of the best resources, right? Go straight to the source. Talk to the
Yeah.
people who are in it, who their whole job is to help you with that, right? That's their jam. They want to be there
Yeah.
doing that. So,
Yeah.
absolutely. That's great advice. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so I connected with her, but I do not remember. I'm sure I had that excitement, but I also am sure that I went straight into buying my stand-up desk and getting my laptop riser
Yes.
and getting this little glowing mushroom I have on my desk and setting up my space
Most
because
important. Hmm.
yes,
Hmm.
because I was like so ready at that point. Like so ready to jump right in. So
Yeah.
let's talk about what brought you to apply to a master's. Like
Yeah.
what did your journey look like to get you there?
Oh man. So it was a lot of things that I would think probably maybe resonates with a lot of people.
Mm,
So I was an older student. I'd been in the field already. I have five kids, blended family. We're not like I'm not a spring chicken fresh out of an undergrad degree. And so I wasn't really sure for a long time
mm,
if I wanted to do this, like the work part of it. And then at the same time, I have always just had this, I don't know, dream and this like again, I'm like super somatic woo woo everybody. So just this is how I speak. This
we're
is who
going
I
with
am.
it.
Izzy will,
Yeah.
yeah, she'll attest to that. I had like this feeling that it would happen, like I could do this, that it would
Mm,
be something in my horizon eventually.
mm,
And then there was a time in my life when I was a single mom and I
mm,
thought, oh my gosh, like this is not
mm,
ever going to happen. I'm going to have to give up on this dream. It's just not feasible, which was devastating.
yeah.
And also, if everyone goes through difficult transition times in their life, you pick yourself up and you move along and do what you got to do.
Mm,
And so then to have this potential opportunity be actually a possible reality was like mind blowing.
mm,
Mind blowing. It was like a whole thing. So part of it was finances, right? We know that, like statistically speaking, if you have a graduate degree, for the most part, you're going to be able to find jobs where wages are a little bit higher, and that's important.
yeah.
Job flexibility, right, with kids and all that, but also I wanted to learn. I wanted to
Mm,
deepen my practice. I wanted to do all the things and learn all the things and be immersed in that environment I'm a big nerd. I love school, huge
Mm,
nerd. So that was very exciting to me. And also to feel like I was aligning with an ethical practice that felt true for me, you know?
mm,
Because
mhm,
in Alberta, the word, like the title counseling isn't regulated.
mhm,
The psychologist title is, but the counseling is not. And so I was working under a registered psychologist before, but I really wanted to legitimize myself in a sense that in
mhm.
something that felt true for me and client care and all of the things, you know, and to be able to register, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my really long-winded story. How
So
about
so then
you?
tell me, Karen, I must know before we switch over to me. Like, what was it that resulted in you writing the letter and hitting send on your application? Like, what was it about that time in whatever you must have applied in 2022? So in that summer or spring, whatever this, like what happened? Like that you were like, "Yep, now is it. Like I'm going to do it. I'm going to do
Oh,
it now."
I love that question. And this is so not a great or dramatic answer. So, again, this
Okay.
is just the reality, right?
Yes.
Which is part of it all. I
Yeah.
was at a point in my life and in my career where I thought, okay, if I really want to stay in this career, if I want to continue to do counseling and be as good as I can be,
Mm,
as ethical as I can be, to stay, to have job security
mm-hmm.
and financial security in my life, and to
You had to
do
shit or get
right by
off the
my
pot.
clients, I gotta shit or get off the pot. I gotta
Yep.
jump in. And
Good
so
for
it was
you.
terrifying, but I thought, like, this is it. And what else am I
Now,
gonna do? Like, it
yeah.
just didn't, nothing else resonated with me. That made sense?
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. So it was kind of like this ongoing like introspection and kind of consideration of yourself in the field and what you want to do and how you want to show up for your clients and this like ethical and like licensing legitimate based work
Yeah.
that you were loving but really wanted to kind of have that step up and you're like this is how I do it and therefore send.
Yes.
I
100%.
love it. I love that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And so my story to it is a little bit more like an epiphany. So
Love
like I
it.
said, I did apply post grad, like post university after my 4 year undergrad in psychology and neuroscience. I applied, I was accepted. I did not go because my mom was battling breast cancer at the time. We
Mm.
were moving back home. Financially, it just didn't seem like it was the right time. I wasn't really sure where I was going to be working, so it just
All the things.
all the things didn't work out. So I put a pause on the dream and I worked some jobs and I loved the jobs while I was working them. I worked at a retirement home as a fund manager, which like you can fully picture me as a fund
Oh,
manager.
you
Like
would be
I'd show up
awesome.
in like a hula skirt. Like I
Love it.
loved that job. And it
Mhm.
was recreation too. So it was like recreation activities.
Yeah.
So and it was really the social, psycho mental, like how can we support our residents in the retirement home to really be well rounded and feel supported in their living. And so
What a
I
great
loved it.
tie-in. Hmm.
Yes. And it wasn't enough. It wasn't
Oh,
challenging. So I was like, I
wow.
need something more. So then I became a business manager in that same retirement home and I loved it. Loved it. Was more kind of analytical. I felt more legit. I come back to this like legitimacy, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and then I hated it because it wasn't like facing anybody. Like I couldn't support the residents. I couldn't
Yeah.
support and so I ended up being headhunted to work at a group home as a supervisor. And I was like,
Go you.
I'm never gonna leave this job because it's front facing. I get to work with the clients. I also get to manage. There's that challenge component. It had the pension, it had the vacation, it had literally everything. I'm like, why would I?
Hmm.
It had good pay. I'm like, why would I leave? Like, this is
Hmm.
perfect. And I did probably 8 months of it and I hated it.
Oh, yeah.
I was so drained by it. And I really come back to, I just felt like the frontline staff didn't care as much as I did.
Hmm.
And I was so devastated by that reality. So I ended up taking a leave of absence. And I have never in my life taken a leave of absence for my mental health. I
Well, well done
was
you.
Thank you. Yes, it was
Mm-hmm.
hard because I've always
Mm-hmm.
worked two, three jobs since I was like 15.
Yeah.
And so I really needed that time to like pause and consider what I wanted my life to look like because it felt really dead-endish to me at the time. I was like, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
I've done all these jobs. I
Stuck.
like them for a
Yeah.
short time. And therapy, being a therapist, had always been in the background. It was just this like, I need to get over the self-doubt I have about myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
I fully just felt like I couldn't, and I would make excuses, right? Financial, time, all of these pieces.
Mm-hmm.
And truth be told, at the time, my husband and I were struggling to conceive.
Mm-hmm.
So we had done a couple years of infertility. We were going through a fertility journey. And so it was also that, like, well, if I can't be a mom, I'm not going to work in this job I hate.
Yeah.
And so what am I going to do? Right?
Yeah.
How am I actually going to get fulfillment in this life?
Mm-hmm.
And so I remember I was walking my dog. This is a really long-winded story, and I hope everyone's enjoying it.
It's awesome. I'm in. I'm on
uh,
tenterhooks. It's all
right.
good.
I was walking my dog and we used to, I don't know, it doesn't even matter. I don't have to describe it to you, but I was walking my dog and it was kind of in this like trail setting. And I literally just, it was a light bulb moment for me. I'm like, I'm going back to school. I have no idea what it's gonna, we just bought our house. We
Oh,
just got married
chills.
in like the last year and a bit. I was like, I have no idea what it's gonna look like. I have no idea what I'm gonna do for a job while I do this, but I'm gonna do it. And it's what I'm meant to do. And it was so like an epiphany type
Yeah.
thing. And
Yeah.
so I went home. I went home. I got connected with my girl L/Ella. Don't really remember her fucking name. I feel so bad. I should go back in my emails.
But you're so
And
important, Elle. You really are. Yeah.
you really
You
made it
were the game
possible for
changer.
me twice. And she was my girl twice in 2019 and in 2022 when I applied. So I had a,
Amazing.
it was the summer that I applied, but I didn't want to go until January. I wanted to
Mm.
start 2023 and go. And so yeah, I went home. I did. I told my husband, he's like, okay, like we'll apply for OSAP.
I love that.
We'll figure it out. And so we did. And so tell me, Karen, what about Yorkville drew you?
Yeah,
There are a lot of master's programs out there.
totally.
There and a lot of people ask about Athabasca. So Athabasca is in Alberta,
Mm-hmm.
correct?
Yep,
Yes.
absolutely. Yeah.
And it is mostly online also,
For the most
from
part. Yeah.
what I'm aware of. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so, people have asked me like, why Yorkville over Athabasca? And so I
Mm-hmm.
want to hear from you. Like, what do
Mm-hmm.
you?
Yeah, for sure. First off, I want to say, you gave me chills in your
Oh,
story that you thought was too long-winded. I love that, the whole epiphany thing.
yeah.
It's
Mm,
amazing to me when people have those experiences where they
mm,
just something flips, something
mm,
shifts inside them, and they're like, "Yep, this is it. I know this to be true." Whether it's, cognitive or somatic or body-based or whatever it is to go,
mm,
yes,
mm,
this is for me. This is where I'm supposed to be. This is where I needs to go. This is it. So I
mm.
love that you had that. Like
Thank you.
how affirming, right? How beautiful.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
so cool. So,
Thank you.
give me all the chills and shivers. So I love that. On to yeah, why Yorkville?
Hmm.
Um Honestly, it was the online component. It fit with my life.
Yeah.
So I was very interested in Athabasca. University of Lethbridge also has a counseling program. So I kind of looked into a few of them, interviewed
Okay.
with some of them, and then really set on Yorkville. And like I shouldn't say, I completed my undergrad through Athabasca. I started at McEwen in Edmonton in Alberta. I'm in Alberta. So I was very familiar with Athabasca. I loved their setup. I loved the professors. I knew how it worked. I was very comfortable with it all. And they have a very renowned program. They really do, which is lovely. But you do have to go in person for a few weeks at a time for some of their intensives during a certain time of the year, which is fabulous. I think that face-to-face stuff sometimes is so important in doing
Totally.
these things.
Hmm.
However, with kiddos to support and feed and, ferry to activities and be mom around and jobs to do, I was just like, that is not something that I can fit into my life. And if I want
Yeah.
to make this dream happen, which I so do, I'm so committed to it. I feel again deep in my soul like this is where I need to be. This is who I am. This is something I want to give to the world.
Mm,
I want to show up for people, and bring safety and feelings of being valued and being another human being with someone. And I
Yeah.
couldn't do that with any other program.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I love that. And I love how, and I think I go back to like Yorkville and this, um, it allows you to do that. And
Hmm.
I like, and kind of like we talked about in the intro, I did not find anything wrong with the Yorkville program.
Yeah,
There
me
were a
neither.
couple courses that I was like, do we need a full course on this? I don't know. It wasn't for me necessarily, but I think foundationally there's some pieces. Yeah, I would I have liked to explore some other modalities? For sure.
Hmm.
And also, would that have been possible in a 2.5 year
Oh,
program?
exactly.
No.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
And so I love that you were able to like kind of consider what it looks like in your life, set that boundary for yourself, knowing that this was going to be different than Athabasca. You
Yeah.
had that awareness of what it was going to be. There was comfort there, and you were still like, no, like it's not the best choice for me based on XYZ. I'm going to go here
Yeah.
instead.
Yeah, I think like being a bit of like a middle-aged, almost middle-aged, middle life. I know I'm like, am I considered middle-aged? I don't
I
know. I'm
don't know.
pretty
Am I
close to
old?
middle-aged.
Yeah.
I'm 38. Does that mean I'm middle-aged? I think I'm probably middle-aged. I don't know.
I
I don't
don't,
know.
do we have to
Everyone's
label
either
it?
screaming, "Oh, you're so old," or "You're so
Right.
young." What do you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
We don't need
I
labels.
I love that. I love that. I was at a point in my life where leaving my community and going to school far away. I'm in a rural area. I'm about 2.5 hours away from any major center where there would have been, or more, where there would have been access to a program like this, at least
Mm,
that. And again, kids in school, kids at home, kids going to everywhere, right? It just was not something that would have worked for me. And I didn't want to leave that rural area, right? I had a
mm,
job that I loved. I have family around, all of this stuff. And to uproot my whole family to do that is just not something that at the time I felt was the best option for all of us.
yeah.
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 So the accessibility was amazing.
Mm,
And the ability to do it when I could fit it in, right? Like with Yorkville, there's certain courses where, you have to be on at a certain time or whatnot, which is great. There's still lots of face-to-face components with it,
mm,
but I also needed flexibility because I did have a job and kids, right? So
yeah.
that's a big deal. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a
Yeah.
great point. I think that maybe not a lot of people, as you're saying that, I'm like, yeah, actually, not a lot of people might know that. Is that oh, like BPS has a group project, so you would need to coordinate with a group of people to connect to come up with a
Hmm.
project.
Yeah.
But otherwise, course-wise, like attending a lecture or being on at a specific time, not required. I don't think that was really required until like
Skills and
late
stuff like that,
skills,
right?
which is
Yeah.
like late
Hmm.
year one.
Yeah.
And even then you sign up. So there are,
Hmm.
and we
Options.
will
Yeah.
obviously get into it, but like you sign up for when you want to work and there's options. And sometimes, yeah, you do have to take a day off. You have to take a day off work. You have to
Hmm.
take a sick
Hmm.
time. You have to take your vacation day, but it's not so much that it's not possible. And
Yeah.
I did like that about Yorkville. Um, and so
Yeah.
when people have asked me, they're like,
Yeah. So how about
why?
you?
Yeah, why Yorkville? To be very honest with you, I'm a weird person. I'm a
I
weird
love
person
it.
in the
I
sense
love
that
the weird
I
peeps.
I just didn't look elsewhere. I truly didn't know Athabasca existed, to be perfectly honest with you. I um knew that I couldn't go to a standard school. Like I said, at that point I had a mortgage, right?
Hmm.
I had a dog and two cats to feed, right? At the time, no kids, but um like I needed to work. We had car payments, like, life goes on. So
Yeah.
I needed that virtual. And yes, it's more expensive for sure.
Hmm.
I got a lot of OSAP, a lot of OSAP. Paid out of pocket for some, saved up and paid it out of pocket for some, but
Hmm.
to worth it to me, to be
Oh,
perfectly honest, because it
absolutely.
allowed
Yeah.
at the time to do it. Otherwise, I would have been then saving and
Yeah.
waiting and who knows what all that would have looked like,
Right.
right?
Which some people did do, but and
Mm,
kudos to them. But it's an
yes,
investment, right? And so if you
for
can get
sure.
that stuff, why not?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. There are options, right? Because a lot of people
Hmm.
see the price tag, and I use quotations, the price tag,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Oh, I can't do that." And there are options, right? We got a line of credit, right?
Yeah.
this is the ugly part of it, right? This isn't the most beautiful part of going to grad school and like
But
then
it's
coming out
part
with
of
some
this whole
debt.
thing too,
For
right? Like
sure.
what to expect. How do I make this possible? Hello,
Yeah.
acceptance letter. Ah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And it's all of this to say it's possible, right? Use your
Mhm.
resources, reach out. And I know someone who didn't do OSAP, like her and her husband, and she has kids, and they just saved. They just
Yeah.
save. They put their kid, her son through university too. Like they
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
buckled down for 2.5 years.
And so let's on a side note, let's also take a minute because the therapist in me is rumbling inside. So I think this should be worth noting too that we also both realize that we are extremely privileged and that
100%.
education is can be a very privileged opportunity. So we are both white settler people, right? Like we
Yes.
understand that we are also very privileged to have the opportunity to do any of this, any of the funding
Yes.
options, all that stuff. So just
Yeah.
a big awareness piece of all that. We are absolutely aware of that. And many people don't have those opportunities, or there's a lot of barriers sometimes, systemic barriers for people in that? So
Absolutely.
just
No,
a little side note.
yeah,
Mhm.
I so appreciate you saying that because I think that that's very, very true. And oftentimes, in societies, not something that's always openly discussed, right? Is that
Yes.
definitely, barriers are in place and how can we support that in this conversation to name that.
Yeah.
And also if you have questions and you're wondering, like please reach out to us and maybe we can be more specific and see if we can support that transition for folks too.
Yeah. Which is part of too of why we love Yorkville is because in the academic world, a traditional brick and mortar type of facility isn't necessarily always that accessible for a wide range of people. And
True.
so just in terms of systemic and even just physical barriers, sometimes that online accessibility or the capacity to pay course by course or whatnot and take a break in between time, all that kind of stuff helps to reduce some of those barriers. It doesn't eliminate it, right? Even just to get to that
Yes.
point, there's a lot in that. However, that can be helpful. But I
Great
digress.
point.
Anyways, just
Yes.
wanted
Yeah,
to name
great
that.
point.
Mhm.
And I also think just what with you saying, again, a lot of people don't know. I mean, we kind of alluded to it in the sense that you started in the September and then we finished at the same time in the April.
Yeah.
Um, and then I started in that following January and finished. So there is opportunity for breaks. There is opportunity. I know somebody who started with me in January because we did our BPS program or our BPS project together, which is the first course.
Yeah.
And she will be starting her practicum in January. So
Mhm.
she took, I think she took two courses at a time, two courses and then a break, two courses and then a break. And then that was
Yep.
just kind of her thing. So there's
Yeah.
lots of flexibility in that sense as well.
Absolutely.
So I'm glad you brought that up.
Hmm.
Um, in terms of like logistically, what you needed
Yeah.
to step into like what you've got your acceptance letter, you're like, woohoo, I'm so excited. Holy shit, now what? Like, what do I need to
Totally.
step into the program?
So I have to start this by just saying that Izzy and I were talking about this, kind of going through like our little outline, what we want to talk about before we started recording this podcast. And this just makes me giggle so much because it just showcases how great we are together, how we're so opposite in some ways, and we really balance each other so well some ways.
And how you can have such different experiences and still come out on the same. And I think
Yes.
that that is also speaking to like what we've talked about so far. I had the epiphany. You were just kind of like, this has to be done. And like, just you can have these different, anyways, please continue. Yeah.
Absolutely. Exactly. Right. Exactly. So we were talking about, okay, logistic wise, like what do we need to do? What has to be in place for people? And my first thought was, man, support people. They need a village. We need to gather our troops, gather our forces, and get ready to call on them when we need.
And I
And
was
you
like,
laughed and said, yeah,
you need a laptop.
yeah, which, which
You
is
need a
very
laptop.
true. Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
you need both. You need
Hmm.
both. So what did your like how did you cultivate this village, this system that you put in place? Like
Yeah.
who did you lean on? How did you set yourself up for that?
Well, again, I am my situation, I'm very lucky with. Not everyone has these supports. And so, just to name that, right? Sometimes a lot of success and completion in things is a lot of the village and support systems that are around people. And so,
Mm,
if not everyone has that, that's a barrier. That's a big thing.
for sure.
So, I really had to call on my family and my husband a lot to be like, hey, I need extra help with, pick up and drop off at certain activities for kiddos, or, if I needed help with, homework or cooking meals. I have a husband who loves to cook, thank goodness.
Mm,
I'm also a terrible
bless him.
cook. I burn
Yeah,
everything.
me too.
So thank God for that. Yes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So things like that. Even just, oh gosh, my mind's running a blank right now, but there's so many things. Oh, the house. Things
Mm,
like, okay, you're gonna have to lower your expectation level a little bit or what it used to be, right?
mm-hmm.
Even with kiddos, like they learn to be more self-sufficient, right? Because I wasn't as available all the time. And that's
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
There's a level of independence they gained and feelings of pride in that too,
Mm,
right?
yeah. And
Yeah.
I think that that was also served at the time with the age of your kids. Not always possible when you have
100%.
little itty bitty ones.
100%.
And
Yeah.
so there's lots of like wax and waning with all of these pieces that we're kind of bringing forward. Um, yeah, yeah, it was my husband, my mom. We have a little, have always had a little granny flat for my mom. So my mom lived with us. So it was very much, yeah, like mom and my husband, they made the meals and they walked the dog. And, I came home and I went right to work and I would go days without seeing my husband and then be like, oh yeah, I used to live here. Same, same, same.
Passing in the
Um,
night. Yeah, in the hallway.
yeah, it
Mm-hmm.
is very much like that,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, I like that support system piece that you come up with. And it's also like shifting the expectation for yourself too, right? Like,
Love it.
is it then like how can I give myself grace in all of this? Like you said, like the expectation of the house, right? Not only for other people, but for yourself. I know that I
Mm-hmm.
was like very type A with our house for a long time. Like I always cleaned on Saturday, the full clean, like windows, inside, outside, dusting baseboards, wiping
Oh my
baseboards, like a
gosh, you're amazing.
sociopath. No, no, no,
Wow.
sociopath. And so I had to really like give myself grace. Like, yeah,
Sounds
like I
exhausting.
have not vacuumed in a couple of days. And that feels like, again, somatically in my body, like the end of the world on top of the stress and the panic. And you have to learn to give yourself the
Yeah,
grace.
totally. We actually vacuuming, like what a big thing. And yeah, so crazy, but what a big thing. We actually eventually, and again, this is a privileged spot to be in. I bought one of those little Roomba things.
Bro,
And I was
yeah.
like, yeah, like this
Yeah.
is
This
gonna
is
have to be
fine.
the way it
Yeah.
is for a little bit,
Yeah.
until we can all have some time or the kids can help or, we can figure this out because it
100%.
is what it is. We got to shift. I love how
Yeah.
you label that. We just got
Yeah.
to shift a little bit.
For
Yeah.
sure.
And really work on being okay with that.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
And so what else do you feel like I said, okay, I said a laptop. I still
Yeah.
stand by that.
Done.
You need some
Absolutely.
sort of, yeah, absolutely. Um, Word you can access through school. You don't have to pay for it.
Yeah. They have a lot of great things they set you up with.
Yep,
Yeah.
they set you up with that. So there really isn't that much. Really, the next thing is textbooks. And so we talked a
Hmm.
little bit about like where do you get your first textbook? And you're gonna wanna like follow what the course outline says and buy the books from wherever you buy them from. But there's so many other options, so explore those. I was saying that I bought a lot of my books secondhand. One time I was in, I don't know, Toronto. I live in London, Ontario. I was in Toronto for a rugby game. My husband was playing rugby and there was a woman selling one of her books on Marketplace. And I was like, hey, I'm in town. Can I pick it up? And she's like, yeah, for sure. And
Amazing.
we set it up and it
Yeah.
was just at such a reduced cost
Yeah.
too. How did you buy most of your textbooks?
So I love that secondhand thing, right? Like, and
Hmm.
even on the Facebook groups for our program for MACP through Yorkville, there's tons of people selling secondhand books or willing to mail them even if you can't pick up things like that. So that's a great option.
Mm,
I never utilized any of that, just because I am so
yeah.
like I'm pretty remote where we're at. But I found I did use the school bookstore. for a
Hmm.
while for sure because there's just something
A
about academic
fresh book.
bookstores. Oh, it's
Yes.
so exciting. So I
Yes.
bought some
Nerd.
physically. I am totally, yes, I know, and proudly. Huge nerd here, and I love it. Like nerds unite. Go nerds. I love it.
Yes.
Nothing wrong with being a nerd. Um, and then also a lot of the online stuff. And I was like,
Yeah.
because I did my undergrad in the era of actual books and libraries, guys. I
Yes.
am
Yeah.
old. So I
Like
was like,
signing them out.
yes, going to the physical library
You're
and
insane.
going through the catalog and finding the book actually and taking it out and doing like looking at the index, doing all that stuff, right? I'm old. So this
I'm
whole
dead.
online thing was like, what in
Yeah.
the heck am I supposed to do with this? How does this work? So that was a whole shift too. So
Hmm.
just on a little side note about that, guys, if you are tech challenged and old like me and freaking out a little bit about the online part of school, Yorkville has lots of like little programs and
Tutorials.
tutorials. That's the word. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes,
Hmm.
about how to do all the things. So
Hmm.
like it's worth the time to figure that out if you're old like
Yes.
me because it makes it way easier.
Hmm.
So I actually ended up in the end getting a lot of my books online, which is
Hmm.
amazing because guys, you can search. It's like an index without having to go to the index, right? You
Hmm.
can use a little magnifier search guide.
Keywords.
Yes, you can
Yeah.
highlight, you can quickly go back to things, you
Yeah.
can copy and paste for your research, like not, of course, don't plagiarize, but you know what I mean.
That's not what we're
For your,
recommending.
no, I am not condoning plagiarism. Don't do that. You'll get in big trouble.
Yeah.
Don't do
No,
that.
we
Yeah,
we
no, no,
never
no.
did that to know that you got in big trouble, but we just
No.
know that you would get in big trouble.
Yes, exactly. Good point. Yeah. Sideways eye glance.
We
No,
tried
of course we
plagiarism one
didn't.
time and it really didn't
No.
go well for
Yeah.
us.
By the way, peeps, that's a total joke. Neither of us have ever
No.
plagiarized anything. No, that'd be
Yes.
terrible.
Yeah, yeah.
But what I did, just to explain that, I always had a Word doc open and any really important information I needed, I
Yeah.
copy and pasted it in with the page number and where, like, the whole, where it was from, the author, so I could go back to it. So I had it fresh when I was writing.
Yeah. You know what else I like to do? Ones that really resonated with me, right? So some of the cultural sensitivity pieces or um pieces for, marginalized communities. If I felt like, oh wow, like I want to remember this content. I
Yeah,
for a long time like literally would copy paste, print them out, and then stick them to my wall. Like I had like a full, I don't even like the
I love
spectrum
that.
of, yeah, because I always felt like it was not even so much for like me to like learn academic, but it was like this inspiring, like, wow, look at all this great knowledge that I'm learning.
Yeah,
Yeah. And so when you
absolutely.
say online textbooks, we're talking about, what is it called?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So, guys, I didn't find this resource until I was probably like three-quarters of the way through this
Yes.
degree, and I wish I would have found it before.
Yeah.
Um, but
Vital
so it's called
source.
Vital Source. Yes,
Yes.
and it's
Yes.
amazing. Go
Yeah.
check it out if you
Yeah.
can. You will be like if one of the biggest tips and tricks for just beginning your this degree is that go to Vital
Yes.
Source. It is so
Yeah.
worth it. You can just search the titles you're looking for. They have all kinds of academic textbooks. They're like an academic based website, as far as I remember, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
Go check
Yeah.
it out. You will not be sorry.
And I think the point of this, like, again, stepping into your first course, what do you really need? The truth is that you need the textbooks. Like some people are gonna be like, oh, you don't need them. And I did tell Karen, I did not read all of the textbooks, but I'm pretty sure I always got them. Whether or not I really opened them is a different story, which she was like, are you crazy? And again, nerd versus like potentially a type B person, which I'm not normally. I'm normally type A, but like you're gonna want the textbook definitely starting out, right?
Yeah,
And then
for
after
sure.
that, because the other piece too is that you're gonna learn a lot of your information through scholarly
Hmm.
cited
Yeah.
resources and papers, right? So that's how I did a lot of my learning because I did it a lot based on my interest. So I would focus kind of my rabbit hole of my DQs or my papers based on my interest, and that wasn't always necessarily in the textbooks. So that's a
Hmm.
sidebar of kind of how I ended up, the way that I am, I guess. But all of this to say there's options to find
Yes.
the content and find the textbooks, and it doesn't necessarily have to be full price from the bookstore. If that's your jam,
Hmm.
I love that for you.
Yeah.
And there's other options. So the online Vital
Yes.
Source is a good one. I also bought like Marketplace, but you can also buy them on like other like bookstore type
Yeah.
secondhand
Absolutely.
vibes. So
Amazon. I got some from
yeah,
Amazon
yeah,
to
Amazon.
be right. Yeah,
For
it's
sure.
surprising.
Yes. Yeah. Good point. Good
Yeah.
point. And I feel
Yeah.
like I always kind of check there first because typically it's cheaper.
hmm And to
Yeah.
be real, not to take, money from anywhere that we shouldn't be necessarily. I'm air quoting there for those of you who are not on YouTube watching this, but as a grad student with a lot of debt behind your name and mortgages and families to feed and kids and activities and all the things, sometimes, saving a few bucks is worth
Matters.
it, is important. It
Yeah.
matters.
And
Yes,
it's
definitely.
a textbook, at least a textbook, sometimes two per course. You're
hmm
doing what? One, two, three. I don't even know.
I don't even
One,
remember.
two, three,
Yeah,
four,
I
five,
don't even
six, seven.
remember.
I don't
It
know,
felt
10
like a
plus
lot.
courses, 10
Yeah.
plus courses. If they're $100, $150 a pop, like we're talking some money, right? So
Yeah,
yeah, I think
exactly.
that, to again open it up and make it a diverse and accessible to other people, there's
Yeah,
lots of options out there. So take a peek.
definitely.
Um, Karen, what would your top piece of advice be to somebody stepping into the program for the first time, got their acceptance letter, they're following our tips and tricks in terms of getting their laptop and their support system figured out. But really like broadly, do you have a piece of advice for the program?
Broadly. Oh my goodness, Izzy. Okay. I think yes. Oh gosh.
Do you want me
Okay.
to go first?
I have a few though.
Okay, go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The first one is go to the intro Zoom thing that
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember what the official name is, but that Yorkville offers for all the new incoming people. I learned a lot of tricks around DQs and when things are like when marks are dropped for DQs or like for example, and we'll talk about this in our DQ episode, but make sure you post the first post for sure by Tuesday. Things like that,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes.
Things that are not necessarily communicated outright, but in that Zoom, they talk a lot about that. You get to meet some of your professors. It alleviates a lot of anxiety and gives you a lot of information you may not otherwise have. So that was a big one. The next thing is use resources. So the library is amazing. The
Mm.
library at Yorkville is fabulous. They also have all kinds of like videos and tutorials and fabulous people there. It's amazing. But there's also things like Sci-Hub, Google Scholar, all of these things where you can find, and I used a lot of these resources to find scholarly articles um, in an easier fashion or quicker fashion, let's say,
Mm.
right? Or if whatever didn't have them. So just a heads up about that. Those are probably my top two little strategies for people going in.
Yes, I
Yeah,
appreciate that. I think those are practical skills. I did not attend the very first
that doesn't surprise
webinar
me.
thing. Yeah, no, that doesn't. And you know what's so funny is that like I said, like I am really a type A person. But I got a lot of my information from my peers. I got a lot
Oh,
from the
yeah.
Facebook
hmm
Yorkville. Not that I was necessarily asking questions, but I got a lot of like do's and don'ts from those streams as opposed to sitting down and spending an hour listening to somebody talk about it. And that just felt more accessible to me. And so that's the
Yeah.
way that I did it. So I would have preferred to listen to this podcast than to sit through a
Yeah.
whatever the heck webinar. So
Yeah.
if it works for you, do it, but there's also other ways to get the information.
Yeah.
I never have heard of this Scribber situation that you're talking about. So there you go. Look,
Yeah.
you learn something new every day
Well,
is
if
what
you
they
ever go
say.
back to grad school, you'll be
Yeah.
ready.
Or my
Yeah.
PhD. Could you
Or yeah.
imagine?
Oh my gosh.
Oh my
Well,
God,
there's
no
been
way.
thoughts, but I don't think I
I
could.
don't think
No.
so. My biggest piece of advice for those stepping into the Yorkville MACP program is to find community. I
Oh.
think that so often, because it's a virtual setting and because you'll likely never see peers from your first program in other courses again. So, like
hmm
your first course is 10 weeks, you'll probably never see them again because there's so many of us
Yeah.
moving through the program and at different paces and picking up and leaving off.
Yeah.
And so, I would say, like, actively spend time creating community because that's also where I got a lot of my questions answered. My brainstorming happened on projects and
hmm
papers and whatever else. So I in my first stepping into the BPS program, I was aware of the portal and was aware of people who were posting and doing their introductions and asking questions and really engaged in the content as I reached out to them before knowing that there's a group project coming up and said, hey, do you guys want to do the group project together if we have an opportunity to book it together? And I have been with those people for almost 3 years.
I love that. Oh
So
my
those are
goodness.
still shout out to you guys if you're listening because you guys know who you
Yay.
are. I'm still with them and I
Yeah.
collected people along the way. I collected another one from my CBT program, the CBT course, a project that we were doing there, and I basically and I say collect it because I was like, here, come to my little WhatsApp group. And now he's really close friends and really like closely connected to one of my friends from the BPS.
Oh, I
And so we
love
really
that.
created this community. And I just
Yeah.
recently, and I'll finish my tangent after that, connected with a couple of students in my like physical workplace in London, who are stepping into their practicum, and they're like, yeah, we never did that, and we sat
Hmm.
down and chatted and whatever else, and they're like, yeah, I feel like that's something that we missed. And
Hmm.
you really do have to cultivate it for yourself. You
Yeah.
have to, and not everybody's going to be your people. I did a group project with a gal who I am okay never to see again. um
Just real. Yeah.
and that's just
Hmm.
real. That's just what it is. These people are not all going to be your people. But once you find someone, you're like, hey, a couple other ones, I had accommodations, which we can talk about all through the
That's a good
master's
episode.
program.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And so I connected with people who also had accommodation because, and one of them was that we could submit our papers. We had a week of grace period.
Hmm.
And so we would be a week later. So instead of bugging the people who have already kind of submitted and let it go in their brain, we would connect, right? So
Love that.
there's a really beautiful message in all of this rambling, and that is get connected to your people
Ah,
because that will see you through the program.
yeah. That was smart and eloquent rambling that was great. That's a
Did you like
very,
that?
very important. I loved it.
Thank you
You
so
know,
much.
I love that and I love that for you. I was on the other end where I was so busy trying to
Yeah.
balance everything and run and just try and keep like trying to get some
Above
sleep and
water.
keep my sanity. Yes, trying to
Yeah.
keep my head above water, which doesn't always happen, which is normal, that I
Yeah.
didn't do that.
Yeah.
And not until practicum, right? Till we were
Yeah.
really forced and thrown into that, which I'm so thankful for.
Mm.
But that's such a huge piece. So I think definitely if you can do that, that is a game changer, even just to normalize all the things that are happening, all the
Mm.
feels, all the ups and downs, and that yes, you will get through this too. And that's another thing. Lower your expectations, guys.
Yeah.
I'm serious.
Yeah.
I'm
On
a high
yourself,
achiever,
on your
crazy. Yes,
hygiene.
type A. Yeah, crazy. Because I get crazy.
Yeah.
I get very intense about wanting to, have the best marks and things like that. And I
Yeah.
really had to step back from that and go,
Yes.
okay, this was my mantra all through this once because I started to burn out and it was too much.
Yeah.
And my mantra became done is better than perfect. Because I
Yes.
could not handle every aspect of my life that needed me in a really high form and to be okay still. So,
Yes.
did I do my best? Absolutely. I put everything I had into this. And
Yeah.
also, there were times when I was like, you know what? This will never be perfect enough for me to hand in and me be really super happy with it. So,
Yes.
hello, we need to do another episode on that perfectionism, right?
100%.
Right?
I was there too. Yeah,
Yes,
for
but
sure.
done is better than perfect. Get it
Yes.
in. They can't mark something that's not there. So let it
I love
go
that.
and just do it. Yeah.
I love that. Mine became, and this was only in my later pregnancy, so in the last couple of courses, really before practicum, was my motto was just put words on paper.
Yeah. Oh, I love.
Just
Yeah,
put
just
words on
start it.
because I would
Mhm.
spend so much time thinking and perfecting and editing and that I just never got done. Like I never actually finished all the components needed in a paper. And then it was like due with my extension in less than
Yeah.
24 hours and I was pooping my pants.
Yeah.
So it really
Absolutely.
had to become this like just put words on paper.
Yeah.
If you get it down, you can edit it later or not and just see what the hell happens. You
Yeah.
have to do what you can do.
Totally.
Yeah. This is a whole other episode.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
what do we got? Find your community,
Yep.
use your tech resources wisely, what you can,
Yes.
and talk to your peeps about anything and everything.
Yep.
Let that stuff go, man.
Yeah.
Expectations, lower them. It's okay. Done is better than perfect. Um, I can't remember. Oh, get words on paper. I love that.
Yeah. Just put
Absolutely.
words on paper. Yep.
And breathe, because at some
Yeah.
point it is going to be done.
Yep.
And buy a Roomba, man. Buy a
Yeah.
Roomba.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you can, buy a
Let it
Roomba.
go. If you can,
Yes,
buy a
for sure.
Roomba.
I love that.
Hmm.
Okay. Well, this was
Yeah.
episode number 2 of
Woohoo!
Panic Then Process.
We did it. Thanks for being
Thank
here,
you.
guys.
Thank you all for joining us. Send us questions at panicthenprocess@gmail.com. I don't know, like, subscribe, comment, or whatever the hell you can do with whatever platform you're
You got.
watching and see if
Hmm.
maybe it gets to us. And if you haven't heard from us, then send us an email because we're old school, as I
We're not
mentioned.
ignoring you. Yeah, we just don't know
Yeah,
how to do
we
it.
don't. And like I said, I don't even know how this is going to get to the world, but we're going to figure it out. So,
Yeah, we
um,
are.
yeah, if you listen to our rambling, thanks so much. This was fun. And we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Bye, guys.
Bye.